welcome to the Playground Experience. I got here my co-host April Williams. It goes this way, and then Kathy D. She'll probably drift on in when she feels like it. So we're just kind of chewing the fat, as the people say, and trying to see about is what is the energy or what things do we want to kind of say. I was telling her, to me it felt like it was kind of like a little voidish. I wasn't I kind of drift in and drift out of the the spiritual things or even the matrix. So I'm kind of in between ish. Like I told her, sometimes the things come on, and and something, if I try to, it doesn't. But if I push back and I allow it to just happen, the spiritual gifts kind of come online. So that's why I say this is some interesting times. I know we just had the Pisces new moon, which again is about again, she was saying it's a magical time that's going on now. And so and I know they were talking about that this is really some things will pop off that are um not expected, things that you might have tried to, hey, that you tried to force to happen. It's not going to happen like that. It's just going to kind of happen in unexpected ways for you. So to really be open to that. I know they were saying about the Pisces before, and to kind of watch it, that make sure that it's going to cause us to really look at things as is, because Pisces, kind of in a shadow, it has the things to be looking at things in rose colored glasses. So that might be something in which we are really kind of truly working in. And I guess that's why we're getting that push to self, to kind of really kind of get ourselves together. But like I said, I'm kind of like, I'm here, I'm not, it was just kind of like a interesting kind of week. Emotions, yeah, you could tell that the Piscean uh, um, influence is in effect to me about that as far as the emotions. But I'll change. I'll turn it over to April so she can tap in and say on her end. But I know it's been super. I had moments of feeling super tired. I know that for me
Yes, I
during
felt
this.
that wave just right now. I was like, why do I feel super tired? Because it's coming in
Mm-hmm.
waves for sure. Um,
Right.
I am straight exhausted, but that's okay. um,
And Mimi says she feels scattered. I say, yeah. It's like,
but you can't even like rest when you feel like it. I feel like
true.
when time to rest, then I've got all the energy. Although yesterday kind of just knocked me out. So what I'm understanding
Yeah.
from what these energies is a matter of sheer luck and manifestation, um, and you're dreaming into reality what it is you want to experience. So it's a matter of how aligned you are with what you're creating and how much time
Okay.
it takes, but it's actually coming, right?
Okay. I
So then,
like that.
oh hey, welcome CP in
Hey,
Texas. So glad to
CP.
see you. So it's not so much
Yay.
about the numbers that I'm looking at, because the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar, they all have different numbers that are happening at the same time, right? Which is another representation of multiple timelines converging, and you've got multiple dimensions and how you can switch into a new timeline. But you can actually create and align with your dreams and what you're attempting to manifest. And then you're going to start seeing things to corroborate that. Now, we were talking before we started about just readjusting to um, actually saying it's okay for you to receive what you want to receive, right? So instead of being
Hmm.
so attached to the judgment of the separation from the thing that you're creating, it's more like, okay, now how do I get to that frequency and hold the frequency, right? Because how often is it we manifest something and then we immediately get it and then kind of like just flitter off of it simply because we haven't actually realigned ourselves. Like our powers work faster than our ability to hold. So
Mm.
now we've I feel like the last before this new moon, I felt like a lot of stuff was coming up to come out and be like, okay, I can let that go. Okay, I can no longer hold those judgments or regrets towards myself or the anger and the different thing that we were carrying. Now we're like, okay, well, I'm open to receive what inside of me am I ready and willing to fully give up, or what practice am I going to take on, because it's no longer about releasing, right? It's about what practice am I going to take on so that I can hold the things I want, right? So, okay, if I want to be really wealthy, what does that mean? I'm going to learn things about money happily. I'm going to spend money in a different way, right? What the energy isn't about that miserly attachment. It's actually about, oh, wow, look at, I'm so grateful that I can do this. I'm so grateful that this process is happening. Similar to a majority of the people in our community, they're working towards creating the space for love, right? And abundance and connection with their twin in that sense. And in order to do that, you're like, okay, well, I had been doing XYZ, but the opposite inverse of that is, okay, I'm just going to allow myself to receive love from all these other places so that when I
Mm-hmm.
finally get that love from the individual that I've been thinking on, it's either that individual, I'm not even attached to the individual, I'm attached to the energy that that individual holds, right? Because that's what the universe wants for me. It wants for me that or something better. And so I feel, in terms of Mimi, when she's talking about the feeling scattered, it feels like a scattered, but it feels like a comfortable with the scattered, right? Do you feel like completely, um, like she said to me earlier, Tane in the wind? I think Tane in the wind is a little bit more aimless, like you're just like, okay, I'm going, it's happening. But I feel like now I'm like anchored in self at least. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to think these thoughts, right, that I'm having. I'm just going to feel in my body, right? And I've been able to kind of shut some stuff down and cultivate some other stuff. And even self discipline has been really easy. It's been a lot easier. Like the
Mm-hmm.
temptations may be great, but, you know, it really doesn't matter because ultimately I know I'm living with that highest self or highest purpose. And that's what's actually driving me. So it's been a really beautiful set of days because I've been able to be strong and it's easy to be strong versus feeling like there's something that's fighting you when you're trying to be strong, or there's something inside of you that like that's I don't know, it's hard to describe because temptation hasn't really been temptation. It's more like, oh, this old thing or that old, like, nagging little piece. Yeah, I'm not attached to
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been easier to kind of adjust to some of those things that have been bothering you or plaguing you, or you've been dealing with a little bit more. I mean, it's coming, they still come, but I think the level of intensity of it isn't as bad as it was before. You know how to kind of like dial it down or ignore it, like I'm ignoring them in the background, and it doesn't have a sense of agitation. But I've had it felt, I don't know if that goes with emotions, more agitated to some things and saying, okay, that's enough is enough. I can't stand that. That's been a little bit more on a higher frequency now. It's like it's a balance of a switch of those things. Hey, hey, okay, that's enough. Been a switch of that I can't kind of explain it, like the things that had agitated and you want to get rid of. It's a sense of it being more agitated than ever before. Where's my thing at, so I can cover up? Hey, 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 what I say? Woo, Lord, we got to work on that. So it's a different balance there, and I think in some ways, and I'm hearing spirit as I'm saying that, it's saying it's the things that irritate you, and before it was like a little bit, but now it's a little bit more louder in stereo, is because spirit wants you to get to moving, and that's why those things are kind of like that, or it wants to get your attention, that you've got to deal with that a little bit better. So that's being drawn to your attention. Um, Another thing has been, that's one, and things of, they were saying that with the planets, it's been some movement and shifts because of the moving into the new moon with Pisces, Venus and Mars, some things about karmic things, and that's also looking at those things, why things are becoming more agitated as far as maybe in the area of karmic lessons or a person, place, a thing, is because they're really drawing attention to those things. Maybe they might intensify it more than ever. It's because they want you to really start to get to moving on that too as well. So those are some of the things that's kind of coming out to the forefront. That extra, like it's rubbing my skin raw or whatever like that. That sandpaperish feel like. Before it was all right, but it's like putting on the wool sweater. I could wear wool, and then down the road you develop like an allergy or something, and all of a sudden it's like this wool sweater is getting on my nerves. I can't wear it no more. Oh my god, it's rubbing me raw. So it's like that. That's where we are kind of like now coming into. That's what me and my inner self. Oh, the baby dogs know. Well, yeah, they do know. What's going on? What she say? That's me with my inner self. And said, oh, okay. And being empaths, we're integrating all of the energies from the world, right? And you can tell that too as well. So you got to learn how to kind of really extra shield. I think that I had that earlier this week. I'm like, some of this, what I'm feeling, this low vibration, I don't think that's me. I'm not even going to blame it on the DM. I think this is coming from elsewhere, especially with the things that's going on. Should we come out of the mask? Should we be in the mask? That those kind of things are now coming to the board. People are getting tired. I can tell. I'm looking at even the kids in the classroom, and I'm looking at them. The mask is half down. It just off. It's like, why we got to wear it in the classroom when we free out and about to walk around in Walgreens or Walmart or Target or anything like that. So they can't get the understanding of that. The schools, we're still doing it, and the schools are now wanting to let go. So it's a lot of push and give, wanting freedom, but not quite there yet, kind of scared, but knowing that we want to change. So I think that's almost going back to like what April said, is kind of patterning itself and aligning itself like what's happening in the world and what's happening with us. Is again like we feel like this very thing that we want right there on the precipice, on the cusp of it, but it's like really still holding on, and
Yeah.
I say holding hope until it actually manifests. You can feel it. I've even had moments like I can feel myself really aligning energetically with that very thing, or really aligning with the DM. It's like, whoa, whoa, what is that? Oh my God. It's like you walked right. It's like dropped in. And so, it's kind of those phases we're having, those things where we're really truly finding ourselves aligning with them. We can feel that integration, like she said, of you really integrating with the very desired thing that you're supposed to have. It's a different feel, especially when you're manifesting things now. It's just really being there.
Ooh,
What's happening?
man. The rushes, like it's really interesting because the underlying word that just keeps popping up is freedom. Like just freedom.
Yeah.
And it's been multi-layered, this freedom, right? Because how do we know that we're actually free? And
Woo.
no. And in what sense are we
I'm
free,
releasing
right?
energy. I
You're
am not
releasing.
tired.
No, we are all tired because the energy is collectively heavy, you know, and that out processing, that is to our nervous systems. I think it's exhausting, right? Because
Hmm.
everybody's trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense, instead of just
Right.
saying it's okay. It doesn't make sense, you know. I'm just gonna accept that this doesn't make sense. And then once you accept that things doesn't make don't make sense, I feel like you have the conversation, or you see more people who are like, okay, because their vibrations attract each other, just like water attracts each other. It's like, hey, this doesn't make sense, right? And then like we look at each other and we know now what it means to look. We don't have to speak as much anymore. The psychic veil is totally lifted. Everybody's got psychic gifts. The only way that you don't be psychic right now is if you're just being a total dick, like a narcissist, or completely obtuse or something.
Yeah.
And you can see people are now becoming aware of their fear and the incongruencies, right? Because the world was a perfectly fine place. It wasn't exactly safe and wonderful before, right? But now we now have awareness that there's something that we don't understand that may or may not hurt, if not us, then someone we love. So now we are overly concerned with making sure everybody's okay, which is the huge shift that the planet needed. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's back to becoming empowered, right? Because there's a whole thing about empath in the old paradigm. Well, empath in the old paradigm would get taken advantage of, or give too much, or burn themselves out. Empath in the new paradigm is, oh, because I can feel it, I can shift it. And I can shift
Mm-hmm.
it within me, and then that actually vibrates out of me, right? Versus I'm going to be a victim to something. It's more like, oh, I now know how to use my superpower, right? If you feel this way, I know it's not a great time to ask you for this, right?
Right.
Like if you're feeling in fear right now, I know it's not a great time to ask you for this little thing that I want. But I know that when you're feeling good, it's a good time to like prepare that. Or we can I can teach you how to shift your vibration in a subconscious way, because I think that's part of what the dance with the empath is to learn how to flow with other individuals for us collectively to have greater success, because we feel good. You know, we feel good when we feel good, but we feel good when everybody feels good too, right?
Right.
So we're learning how to do that dance because we're no longer holding ourselves small. Like when I see fear, because I'll see people that'll be in a public place like a park, far away from people, wearing a mask, right? Now, if it's just one person wearing mask, or if it's like a group of people wearing a mask in a public place, it's very interesting because they need to see that it's okay to laugh, right? And it automatically makes me laugh. Not to say that I'm making fun of people, but that I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous that they're a little bit scared of air, right? That we're scared of being with plants. And so when they see the teeth and they smile and the smile, I know that that shifts their mood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like being around my son shifts people's mood automatically. Just because he's just so sweet and darling when he's not having a fit, right? Because that's the thing. Everybody's kid is cute until they're not cute. But, you know, it's just like seeing her puppies playing in the background. It brings a lot of joy and it's so simple and sweet. So, like, whether we are in whatever mood, just seeing her with her puppies or enjoying her puppies, that's giving us proof that, yeah, we can enjoy, we can love, we can be playful. And I think the empath powers, we need to now spread that out, because I think as the empath, you guys can confirm or deny here in the chat, but are before you were holding yourself back.
Ooh.
Is that all right?
She
I
knocked
didn't
the right slam. She slammed her right into the wall. You okay? I'm sorry. Like, wow. You okay? Come in.
okay.
Come in. Come in.
So to not completely lose it on that one,
Ooh, we.
we
Ooh.
we as empaths, we held ourselves back, right? Because we didn't want to affect others.
Popsicle.
Popsicles.
Oh,
Okay.
another one.
You okay? You okay?
Well, you can have some
Yeah.
patience, and I'll
Okay.
The red one.
go have
No.
some water. And
Hmm.
Mom, stop.
Hmm.
so
Okay.
turned into a little boss right there. So we held ourselves back because we were concerned about how we affect others, right? Because others affect us so much. We were actively concerned about affecting others.
Hmm.
So we wouldn't shine as brightly, or we would hold ourselves back in an effort to make others appeased. But now I think like we're getting over that overly apologetic way of being and allowing ourselves to affect others because
Okay.
we have the greatest effect. We understand that your mood is shifting.
Hmm.
We're pushing beyond those limits. And it's an individual to individual basis. I don't think we started doing it on a group basis yet, like large groups, but I know that we're doing it on a smaller basis, right? Because it's not that we are beta by any means. We're actually very alpha in terms of how we want to work in an environment, but that empathy has made us go small on how we do it because
Mm-hmm.
we feel every mode, every shift, every change.
Mommy.
And now it's time for us to actually affect them in a way.
Mommy.
Yes, baby. You want a popsicle? You can have one in just a moment. Look, it's all popsicles. My baby knows how to communicate clearly.
Right.
That's what he wants.
Popsicle.
Exactly. The purple one, the blue one. We don't even have blue
Popsicle.
popsicles.
Oh, what I want.
Telling the future. Maybe we will have
Purple.
blue popsicles soon.
Everybody want purple popsicles. Everybody want purple. I don't know. Y'all can hear me because I got this.
Yes,
You,
we can hear you. Can you hear
okay.
me? Say that.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear
Yeah. I
you.
can. I don't know. She laying dead right on it. So whatever. Leave my hair alone. Thank you.
So cute. You see the chew in that. That brought us joy, didn't it?
Hello, people. Oh Lord, thank God they on
So,
fire.
as and along with the corona, right? Along with the crown clearing and the head clearing, I think people are realizing that we've been having our heads messed with.
Right.
And now we're calling each other out on, the stuff where we're messing with other people's heads too. It's all about clarity of communication. And so we are working on it. Oh, those are nice pants. But I've been having a lot of like pains kind of work them way through my body, but a lot more motivation to do the daily routines and work on stuff day in, day out. So I'm feeling good about that. Um, it's just educating the others. It's also in a way in terms of, I guess it's like a guide, right? Because there's so much resistance. The last, I think, frontier, and I'm going to be sort of polarizing in saying this, but the last little frontier part is the masculine and the feminine like the rift, right? So women get to understand themselves clearly and men get to understand themselves clearly, but because the world has perpetuated men in a way that they have been a little bit of arrested development, like they've about to be a little bit more bossy or more like babies or more like we give them what we want, they want kind of a thing. And this is not to say that's a negative thing, but the new paradigm is to for everyone to be held accountable, fully accountable, and to understand that it's okay to step into. I could understand due to where you live. I don't know what she meant. Oh, the masks have been off. Yeah, here the masks have been on still. Apparently on the 6th all the mask mandates are supposed to drop, but we're the last ones in the United States, which is a whole nother story, right? Because the masks have been lifted for most places. Masks consciousness, right? Masking all because they talk about the development of the human through the mask, right? And what we are wearing in terms of our masks that we wear and how we want to appear for certain groups. The masks have been coming off, like the government mask, like what they have been saying and doing behind closed doors that are not actually beneficial for people. And then we're looking at on a larger scale what's happening globally and how we all work with each other, right? Oh, okay. Well, that's really cool that you're out there working on the front lines. Thank you for your service. And, I was always told that in life, it's always to be of service. And thank you for your service, right? And so we do find our spaces and our niches, even if it's just you being you. You're showing someone else, whether you believe you know it or not, you're showing someone else on a conscious or subconscious level how to really flow in their life. Kamakani. So be proud, and we are thankful. Yeah, so um here we go. Aloha, beautiful. Are you ready to be here right now? Can you hear me? Your hair looks amazing. Nope. She's still clicking out. Okay, well, let me just carry this show with a chuck and jive. Just kidding. That's racist, apparently. Um, you look beautiful. Are you ready to come on? Okay. I don't know what finger she just showed me, but it was probably a good one. That's probably the good one.
Yes, for you, it was the good one. Mwah.
She looks beautiful, doesn't she, ladies? Know she straightened her hair out. What is she doing? What is she getting younger? What is she doing? Is it Maybelline? No, it's that twin
No,
flamishness.
it's called collagen, and it's a wonderful product. And it's also called acrylic painting. And to pull my hair up in a ponytail, I have to do that, or it looks like a cat butt. So with all the curls, so I have to straighten it to pull it up. It's a mess.
I mean,
So
it's just a fun. It's just a fun shift. It's a fun
it is.
change.
The kids are loving it. They're like, I really like your hair. One kid even told me he thought I looked shorter with my hair like this. I told him, I said, remember, you need this grade to graduate. So
That sounds like
today
the
he told me
appropriate.
how lovely I looked. So I think he thought about what he was saying.
Yeah, they
I don't
always
know. Being short is cute in my book, but then I'm tall. So
Well, when you're 5'1" and 3/4, some people like to make fun of you for that. So you
it's
must be
so
this tall to ride the
interesting.
ride. So
It's so interesting to finally be able to let all of that like just kind of out. Like now, I feel like we're calling each other on our human shenanigery. Like why are you making fun of all these differences when differences are totally becoming now new and approved? Like, oh, tell us your differences. We're excited to support you with those.
yeah, it just what I think the one thing, if nothing else, this week I have learned, and I know I can speak for Benita on this too. In discussions we have had, we really, I'm trying to log on my computer too, so I'm not sitting here holding my phone. We really have to get rid of labels.
Mm.
We've really got to. I mean, who cares? Who cares what anything is? You know what? If you're having a good time, why call it anything but a good time? I don't understand. And
Mm.
we've got, and we knew it was coming. We knew we've heard this, we've talked about it, but I think so many times we have to put this little box around whatever we're doing, and not and what am I trying to say? And not just letting us be ourselves, So it's interesting. And as most people know, with Benita, she has. I'm trying to get logged into one or the other here. We'll see. Um, a lot of times she has these. She has labels. Everybody has labels. We all have them. We all use them. Um, and we have to get rid of them. Make up our own. All right, I get off this now.
Uh-uh. Got you. You go
Here I is.
now.
Yes, I got loud.
You go
But yeah,
now.
it's it's just, we've got to get rid of this stuff. We've got to get rid of letting the world tell us who we are, what we are, and what we do.
Except for this, I think you should totally own that. Yes, she looks
Thank
amazing.
you, CPN. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Um but we just be you. Who's to tell us if, you know, we're the right size? And being in advertising and all of this, a majority of my life in commercial art, when I look back at it, and so much of the campaigns I did and stuff, I really dictated to a lot of people what their body should look like and who they should be and what they should buy and what was going to make them perfect and what was going to make people fall in love with them and what all these kind of things. And I kind of want to be like, I'm so sorry to the people that fell into that, because it's like I want to go back and say, hey, you're perfect just the way you are. It's why do we have to, what's anybody's opinion? I mean, I teach my kids all the time, what other people think of you is none of your business. And I think as we're, she okay? Did I say
No,
something?
it's probably her puppies. It's
Oh.
not like that.
I was like, oh my.
I
Oh.
really like what Mimi says here. She's actually stopped using the term twin flame. I think it's nice when you stop using that term because it takes a lot of pressure off of you.
Oh yeah.
But it's fun. I'm just gonna not deny it. It's fun, and I like being a woman. So as
Hmm.
much as I am like, yes, people can go androgyny or they can go with any spectrum they like, but there's certain things where I do like to use labels for boundary reasons, but
Hmm.
like other than that, I'm really anti-label, especially the stressful ones. Like I think fit
Well, and
or
if you have a trigger
Did you hear
attached
me?
to a label, that's the
Pee.
thing.
Defecate. That's it.
Because some people can take something like like short. I don't mind being short. I don't have a problem with it. I like to say I'm fun size, or I'm miniature, or I'm pygmy size. Just watch out when I have my bone in my nose. And but I have fun with it because I know I'm not getting any taller. I'm 5'1 3/4", and I've just come to the conclusion, and I have a good time. And it doesn't bother me, and I laugh at my students all tower over me. And but there are some people that are very, have like Napoleon complexes, and are very touchy to the fact that they're short. Um, so if there's a trigger to it, if you came from a very tall family and you're the only one that is very short, you got the short gene, but everybody all your life is, oh, look at you, short, you short, and that's a trigger, then that's a label you want to stay away from. But I think everybody has that label that triggers them.
Yeah, and I think that that label not only is on yourself, but then also about the connection. I've found now what I'm doing with the not the DM, with my divine counter. I don't even like counterpart. My divine other self or partner. Yeah, with that, and that's a label even there, because I don't like that. I'm like clothes. I don't like that. I don't like that. So the divine. I don't even like to say the other divine. Whatever. So it's, I found even with the labels, even there, trying to say that if I just say as far as what it is and trying to define it, it flows better and I get more of a connection and turn around or more bang for my buck when I just say it's just a connection. And it flows much better than me trying to define it as a relationship. And we just connect. It's just like, again, I think Lee kind of helped me with that, which is like, it's I got another person that can get me like no one else can. We can flow and ebb, be busy, we can find ourselves saving or being there at a time when either one of us is low. Nobody else in the world, we have that connection. And so that is what it just is, and it flows much better with me trying to define. I don't know, I take it by day processes to knowing where it's going to go next or what's going on. I don't even try to do that. I just live in the now. And I found that again, like you're saying about labels, it works way better than me trying to define it. And like when he says it's just a connection, and I just have this just another person that gets me more than anybody else does out there. And then just to honor that. And it's better. He comes back and I probably come back with him in return. And much better when we just flow like that. So, so I'm in agreement with that. I'll say apply that also to your connection when you're ready. That's something you have to grow to and you have to get to. That's not something, again, when you're really wanting to push and want it to be more than what it is. But when you do flow in that state where it's just like, hey, I'm not really married to or saying, okay, you're it or you're not it. I'm not even defining it. It's just the flow and the isness of it. Really, truly being in the being of it. It goes way better between my expression as a man and me as an expression as a woman. It goes better that way. I could for the without the labels.
I like that. I like that not using labels thing. I mean, even to myself, right? Because a lot of the limiting factors in terms of being able to fully receive is a lot of the false belief systems and things we've structured in the form of the I am, right? So I have this whole process where I like to take 2 minutes and I do a lot of positive affirmations like I am this and I am that and I am, ready and worthy and I am that I am, and I'll do that. I'll write them for 2 minutes, even if they're in the creation stage. And then for the next 2 minutes, I will literally read them to myself while looking in the mirror. And then you start to feel this shift. And some of the times I push myself out of my comfort zone, especially when you're pushing yourself into a space of receiving more, whether it's receiving more love or more attention or more self acceptance. Sometimes you have to say things like, I'm the hottest girl in the world. I've never actually put that in there because I would never call myself a girl. First of all, I'm a woman. Anyway, I'm not going to get on that tangent. But the point
That's
is,
another label. That's right.
well, see, I was saying earlier because you have headphones, yeah, but I use certain labels for boundaries, like labels that I like a woman. I love being a woman, and I have way too much going on in terms of the curve department for me to be anything else than beautiful, voluptuous woman that I am. So I accept that, and I love how the universe will match me. It's like, yes, you are a woman, and I say, yes, the universe always supports me, right? And so then you start to pull in this alchemy instead of that negative self talk that we conditioned ourselves into becoming. We're now loosening the holds of that. And so when we take the label and reverse it, so sometimes I'll give people the exercise every time you say something negative, you have to say three positive things, right? Oh, you said three negative things? That means you have to say nine positive things. Even if you start off with feeling like you're lying or you're feeling like there's friction, eventually that will become the truth. Yes, here we go. I am a divine diva. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Like this one too. A divalicious divine woman.
Woo, I need that on a t-shirt. Need that on a t-shirt.
We had all these great ideas for T-shirts, and then they never went anywhere. Do you
Right,
remember
right.
those?
We just
Need
got a
that on a
promo.
t-shirt.
Promotion is interesting, right? Because it's something about how we say, because often we used to say on this channel, shameless plug. But you know what? There shouldn't be a shame with self promotion
Mm-mm.
because we deserve to be promoted. In fact, I don't know why my team isn't here already out there promoting me, or my person set up my lighting for me. You know what I mean? Because here I
Right.
am, half in the dark. Like, depending on how close I am to the camera, you can see me or not. But I know everything's happening in divine timing and learning that patience, right? Like I have patience for myself. I
Oh
have
Lord.
patience for
Oh
my
patience.
universe. And I'm loving it though cuz the Aries placements right now, like it's go time, baby. It's go time for our dreams. It's go time for what it is we want to create. And we are co-creating it with our lovers, the universe, right? Even our even our whatever we need is coming to us. All the spaces we need filled, it's, it's coming. Sorry, I always got to go in there somewhere on a Freak Friday mission. You know me.
Where are we
I'm kind
going?
of like
No,
a
I'm saying.
junior high schooler who's constantly filling in the blanks with like sexual innuendo.
I think that's even my sixth graders I had. I was like, what? They like, Miss Booker, you fell right into that for that one. I said, you the one that took your mind to the gutter like that, not me. Oh my God. Yes. Uh
I feel you, Mimi. Yeah, I have that same problem too. So I have, t-shirts with words on them and they say different things when I put them on. So yeah, I know how that goes.
Okay, okay. Yes, I'm a double D on the front and across the chest on the back, Divine Diva. All right, now, hey, now that's gonna get people to looking now. I'm a double D. I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that. Write that down. Somebody, like you said, where my people at? Write that down. We got to make some
I'm a
t-shirts.
triple D right now because I'm the
write that down. I know y'all back there. I know you're back there. It's a lot of lights flickering around it. Somebody write that down and make it
And
happen.
I apologize to the people that are like, what the hell am I listening to?
Somebody
Don't
make it happen
apologize,
back there.
Kathy D. Make them rewatch it. Make them rewatch.
One of y'all angels back there make it happen.
You want to be on our level? Make them watch it again. The whole series. Okay, hold on. I gotta go get a popsicle. We got a real full on. We
I,
we got an issue. I'll be right back.
I understand that. I have one too. They're tearing up my training pass for a while. I was going to come over and say, does anybody want a dog for $9.99? They tearing up my
No, you
place.
just start playing that song. What is it in the what is it in the arms of an angel, and then just put
Right, right.
the puppies pictures up.
Right. Yeah. What happened to your dogs? Don't ask.
When it comes to the dogs, we are a don't ask, don't tell family, and we will leave it there.
Yeah, just leave it there. Don't. So what's happening with that? I know I was carried away with them, getting ready. Tell them
Well, and
about
you
the
kind of saw the
SPEC.
calamity coming in and people hugging and all of that. Well, we got good news. Jackie's team won her softball game. They won
Yay!
it 13-5, and Jackie brought home the winning run. So that was a little bit of that celebration. And the person you saw come in and hug me and back out, that is my other child. That is Madison, and my Madison May. So she comes along and keeps Helen either entertained or out of trouble, whichever comes first. As they support Jackie as she does this, so she's very excited. So
Yay!
yeah,
Oh, I'm excited too.
yeah. So and she didn't get hit tonight. She has gotten pegged most nights. Like the other night, she got hit in the hip, and I mean to the point you heard it whomp. So
yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So we were the fact she didn't get hit tonight was yay. That's a win for us.
Okay.
So,
Wow. Well, what's that all about? Just attract. It's just attracting to him.
it's like a magnet. She would get
Right.
hit, and so undoubtedly I told her she just had to start visualizing not getting hit. That it was the ball was a magnet to the bat, not to her. And
Right.
we had, focus on that, seeing that ball coming to the bat, making that contact. And so
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we manifestors, in that moment we could be manifesting stuff and not even, knowing it in the wrong way. So we have to really make sure that we are tailoring it to manifest the outcome that we really want to. That's another thing that's kind of been happening here lately, especially with the fear factor. We were talking about that earlier too before it
the
came
fear
on.
was really bad. First part of this week, into last week, kind of over the weekend, just kind of like ocean waves, kind of rough.
Yeah.
But I found if you stayed grounded in your truth, I journaled, I did my meditation. It was all right. You kind of got hit by the wave, but you might do a little bit of a stutter step, but you still stood strong. You didn't get knocked down. You didn't get shells in your bathing suit and sand where it shouldn't be. And you're all right. And I think that's one of the things we have to learn. And I think instead of calling everything fear, we need to now start calling out those things we're afraid of. I just, it's just fear. Well, what's it a fear of?
Yeah.
What's it a fear of? Is it a fear of abandonment? Is it a fear of rejection? Is it a fear of success? Is it a fear of being alone? If it's a fear of being with too many people, is it a fear of being good? Because people have told you all your life you never amount to anything. So when you get an opportunity to, are you afraid to? Because God forbid, what if they're right? We've got to, for ourselves, we've got to start, and this is where we have to take that label off of fear. And because the difference between fear and love are only a few steps. That fear and that passion are right there. You can be afraid of success, but you can absolutely love what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And what keeps you from the fear and the passion is that empty space where um, you're not recognizing your full potential. So as we then say, instead of saying, it's fear, we say, I have this, um, and not, we don't even want to say I have, it's, right now I'm experiencing
Mm-hmm.
what may seem like I don't want to succeed, what may seem like I feel very alone, what may seem like, because we know we're not. And we know that our mindset controls so much of what happens in our life. If you always look at your glass as empty, you're always going to be on the short side of things. You're going to be on that lack side. If your glass is always half full, you're going to be on that abundant side. And then here's the trick: if you're that person that's just thankful to have a glass, it'll always work out like it's supposed to. And that's where we've got to get. We don't need to care how much is in the glass or what's in the glass, but you know what? By God, we've got a glass and we can fill it with whatever we want to. There we go. Goofy mug. It can be
I got a
anything.
bottle. Do
You
that
got a
count?
bottle? Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. We've got to stop worrying about, once again, going back to those labels, how
Mhm.
much is in there or what's in there, or,
What's
who
it
put it
contain?
in there. You know what? You just got it. And just
Mhm.
be glad and be happy and cause this amazing abundance. Believe that abundance is coming. Today, as everybody knows, I am manifesting the lottery, and with my partner in crime. And I said to the lady when I was tired today, and I gave her, the change came to 35 cents, and I gave her 3/4. And she goes, you just gave me 75 cents. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And, I'm digging through and finding change and whatever. And I said, well, once I win this, I'm not going to have to worry about this, digging around for change. And she said, wouldn't it be nice? And I looked up at her and I looked her right in the eyes and I said, yes, it's going to be amazing because I'm going to win. And she said, how can you be so sure? And I said, because I know.
Mhm.
And she goes, well, and she said, well, good luck. And she goes, no, congratulations. I said, thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
So, but you've got to stand in that. And I mean, yeah, I'm sure there were other people in the convenience store today that went like, well, that woman is, a couple fries short of a Happy Meal. Yeah, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. Step away, children. Don't make eye contact. Look away, look away. That's that crazy art teacher. But if you don't speak it, then how's it ever going to happen?
Mhm.
If you keep it a secret, how does the universe know that I am ready for this? Bring it on. You know how much I need, you know how much I want, we'll meet in the middle, whatever you think I need, and we can work with this. But you've got to speak it out. You've got to say, and be it a new job, be it a healthier lifestyle, be it winning the lottery. Just don't speak that right now. It's mine. But after I win, then you can speak that again. But and it's just, it happens. But we have to be able to
Get the
say, this is what I'm going to have, and this is what I deserve. Is it, the perfect house? Is this the perfect vacation? The perfect job, the perfect life? And it's your perfect, not anybody else's definition of perfect. Because what could be perfect to me, which would be, being able to sit out on the beach and watch the sunset and or rise. I guess we want to start with the rise. We don't want to sit with the set, but to watch the sun rise and then watch the sunset, and just know that really that's about all I have to do that day, other than probably eat, go to the bathroom. That's going to be the extent of what's on my to-do list. And that would be fine. People that are terrified of water, that would sound like a nightmare. You know, but so my that's my perfect, and that's my perfect for me, and I don't push that on anybody else. I don't tell them that their life's not perfect, because I don't put those labels on it.
Yeah, it's important. That's funny because when I had my session this week, and she was telling me about how the brain works and what you were talking about that, and then we have to watch it because the brain is wired. She was telling me about for negativity. It tells the story. It tells a story. It's a fibber. It's a liar, and it's mostly programmed to look for the negative, and that's what she was telling me. And it doesn't matter about how much the negative that it's looking for, and that we have to sit there and really, because it's negative, and like she was saying, is because it helps us to be in that survival mode. You got to remember that we are humans, we are mammals, and also we have some of that kind of animalistic, in some ways, traits. I think a lot of times we forget that we are spiritual beings having human experience, and we have to learn how to balance that out. No matter how spiritual we are, we've got to learn how to train the human too. And just like with the pets and stuff. And so, in doing so, she was telling me, and similar, like what you were saying, was to create that list. Like when I was talking to her, and she's like, okay, well, I'm listening to you, and I'm hearing more of the positives and less of the negatives. So the things, the lies that we allow our brains to tell us about certain situations, like you say, it's good to kind of sit down, and that's in, I think, is that in, no, that's in my anxiety workbook, where you have to sit down and just really say, what's the truth that's being presented in whatever I'm telling myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also, on the other side, put down, okay, now what's really being shown. This is what I think that's being shown, but this is what's really being shown. And majority of the time, just like what was told to me in my session, it's like you got a whole lot of things of why that thing, very thing, does not exist. And you got more things about why the negative is supporting your negative stance, that you are really believing that lie or that story that your brain wants to tell you. So especially when you're talking about like the labels and things of that nature, and we're trying to work our way out of that, we have to really truly train ourselves to get out of that, whatever that lack or whatever mentality. And I think a lot of times we want to beat ourselves up, and I wanted to do a podcast on that, so you're getting a semi preview. I believe that we're beating ourselves up because within us, at our core, we remember that we are spiritual, and we think that this stuff should be instantaneously like this. And we beating ourselves up to say, why isn't it happening like this? Because when I was in my angel form, it happened like this. Or when I was in my ascended master form, it happened just like this. So why isn't it? And we're beating ourselves, and that's counterproductive to what we need to do. We have to, again, what they say, the air is to be human. So we have to, again, be forgiving when those things don't come. And remember, again, it's like, hey, because I'm into this series. I'm looking at Mom got me hooked on Black Lightning, which is this superhero, and you got these meta humans, and how, a lot of times they trying out their new powers, and a lot of times the person that has been there, done that, have to remind them, hey, whoa, you ain't ready for that yet. Hold on, slow down now. You're like, phew, I can flame on. And it's like, wait, 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 wait. You don't know your power. Let's kind of test it out. Let's kind of see how much we can go to distance with all this flaming, or how much distance we can do about freezing up people or whatever, or being the G-force and sending this force to the earth. So a lot of times we have to see how much we can be able to gauge as we're becoming and morphing into the superhero or the super divine or the superhuman that we're supposed to be. We've got to learn that we've got to kind of like is we're learning how to do that and to be forgiving. And I think that's one thing that Spirit wants us to know a lot of times. We're not forgiving even of ourselves. We're more forgiving of others. But when it comes to the process of us, where we are now, like April said, we're going through the process of it manifesting. We're so hard on ourselves. And they're saying that's counterproductive. Kind of, let it just breathe into it. Let's see how these superpowers, because it's a lot of things that's been coming online. We see these things manifest, and we're like, hey, this came fast. When I said I wanted a cheeseburger for McDonald's, that sucker came jibbity quick. Now I want this car or this new apartment. What the hell happening? Why it's going so damn slow? But this came like that. So we have to again learn how to be with the ease and the flow of this new superpower or this divinity that we're working with. And again, of understanding who we are. Now I believe we're into it and we know who we are. We are divines, but it's now being able to kind of get ourselves into that suit like they did on the episode, and trying to see how does this suit work that they made for them, and how this power works and things like that, and so that we can be able to work and make it kind of do on call or response or whenever we want it to. And that's just something that just brought to me, that we just have to really be more. I think some of us not, I'm picking up, some of us is not as forgiving.
Yeah, we've got to quit beating ourselves up over those things, because I mean, we know forgiveness is for us and not for the other person. But when it comes to ourselves and our shortcomings, we've got to forgive ourselves.
Agreed. I was like, "Where's the button? I'm pressing the buttons. The buttons aren't working."
the button, the button, the
Um,
button, the button.
it's really interesting because you know we spend a lot of time rehashing things like it would somehow change the past, right? It would somehow change the experience if you could just rehash it one more time and then maybe you'll hear a different perspective or something. But in reality, the only power is now, right? So when we keep giving away our power to past and like a future that doesn't exist yet, we are no longer accepting our power in the now. And so when you're going through this process of forgiveness, right, the ultimate hard thing I think is forgiving the self the most.
Yes.
Especially when you have a full grasp of like the incarnation cycle and all of these things. You really, like, I personally take way too much power over a circumstance versus just allowing it to be in the now, right? And then you see the contrast of, well, this, let's say it's an experience you didn't want to have. Okay, well, now that I recognize that experience that I didn't want to have, what do I actually want to experience? Right? And so the more you go into the resonance versus the dissonance, like you start to play into the music of the universe and you're creating your own song, right? You're creating your own more harmonious vibration in the universe. So it's like when you get up with gratitude, you start to realize there's more things to be grateful. No, no, the popsicle. And the lessons you learn about popsicles on your duvet. And the power of now, right? Where was I? Right. Moments of now, because sometimes even when you set up the parameters and you set up the boundaries, they don't always get to happen the way you want them to. But if you could take it into the grace that yes, you can correct and remedy this issue right now by simply saying, let's move forward. Let's stop that. Or even no. No is okay to say as long as you understand that there's something now that needs to happen with that no, right? And what's the more harmonious frequency? Yes. So what would make that no a yes? Laughing, taking that deep breath and releasing the tension and pressure in the body, because there's simple things that we can do to separate ourselves from the moment or that experience or that pain that's playing in our bodies when we go through the forgiveness process, right? And I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing, but I'm talking about actually accepting what happened. Like, that was a really shitty relationship, or that was a shame that my friend I thought was a friend treated me that way, or yeah, that parent, they mistreated me based on what it is that they thought they knew or they thought they understood. So right now what I can say is, okay, I'm going to learn this lesson for them.
Peace.
I'm going to learn that lesson for them and say, you know what? I'm going to take my power back. I'm going to say that it's going to be okay. And I'm going to say this is the opposite of that situation. I'm going to give myself that attention that I need. I'm going to give myself that patience or that time that I needed. I'm going to laugh about it because that part of myself, I can heal that part of myself. Popsicle. Hold on just a second. You guys are so silly. Anyway, we're almost done. Anyway.
Give that baby his popsicle.
Yeah, all right. I want a
What
piece.
he wants is he wants me to bite it and give him a piece and put it in his hand. If he puts it in his hand, he's gonna wipe it on my blanket. So I have to think about that.
Okay.
So we're
Yeah.
discussing negotiations over pieces of this popsicle, which are gonna happen in the other room. They're not happening in here. So
Oh, shucks. Not again. I don't know who froze. Bertina froze. I'm just here. I don't know if I'm here. Okay,
Yes,
you're back.
I'm back.
Okay.
I seen
I
it.
never know
When
where
I
I
did
am. I'm
like
just
this,
kind of
I was
floating
like,
around out there.
I'm going out. I knew when it was going.
CPN in Texas had a great question, and she asked, what about control in a situation? I think the more, depending on, hold on, I have to let the dog out. Depending on what your situation is on control. Are you a control freak?
Mm-hmm.
Must everything happen like you want it to? Then you've got to relinquish control. But the opposite is if you're a doormat and everything is, well, whatever, it's okay, I don't care, you know me, I'm easygoing. And then somebody says, well, let's go to, Chinese for dinner, and you're like, oh, I hate Chinese. Oh yeah, we'll go to that. Sounds wonderful.
Mm-mm.
You've got to stand up and say, you know what, we've been to Chinese the last 4 times. Can we please, for the love of God, eat somewhere else? So it all depends on what side of the coin you're on control. Control should be used as a boundary. Um, Remember, no is a complete sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And there are going to be people that don't listen to that. And that's fine too, because when they don't listen, you don't pay them any attention because that's your boundary. But yeah, control is an interesting thing. It depends on why we're using control. Are we trying to control someone? Are we trying to control a situation? Um, are we trying to escape from something and not going through the steps like we need to? Yeah, I see. She says, "Yep, I was a people pleaser." Yeah, and I think a lot of us are and were, and can easily fall back into that. I think it's like a recovering, anything. You can always go back to people pleasing, and
Right.
you have to really look at why do you do things? Why do you do this? And then is it healthy for you? You know, all right to say no. And my biggest thing was, with everything my kids have been through, my girls, I hated to say no to what they wanted because it seemed at the time they had so little happiness in their life. And
Mm,
trust me, I made a monster there. Um, but now, as I say it and I stand firm in it, yeah, it hurts because my children go straight for the juggler. They learned that quite well, that to manipulate. And I've just learned to say, I am so sorry you feel that way, but mom's not changing her mind. Or
hmm.
this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when the kids try to control and tell you what they are and aren't going to do, no, that's not flying. And before, people pleasing, okay, if that's going to be make you happy. Now, no. Does this make me happy? No, it doesn't make me happy. You know, I'm running from here hither to yon, taking them every which way but Sunday. This doesn't make me happy. You know what does make me happy? You know,
Hmm.
and other people might not agree to what makes me happy. And once
It's not
again,
their job to either.
that's right. They weren't given,
Mm.
you know, you were given one job to do. And like, you know, what's that one saying? Other people don't understand because God didn't give them the directions.
Hmm.
You know, the universe didn't give them and lay it on their heart to do things. There are people, I mean, and Divine Sunshine and I, we hear them all the time, people that say, oh, you know, what do you do for a living? And we say, we're teachers.
Hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, you'll hear, oh, I don't know how you do
You
that. Or
do it.
thank you so much. Well, because it wasn't put on your heart to do it. And there are times we think, I
It was
don't
no
know
minds either.
how I do this. I don't know why I do this. And universe, please get me the hell out of this. Yeah, I have learned my lesson, please. I think we've got this.
Right.
Um, and it's not, um, everybody's not going to understand, but the people that take the time to try to understand, at least step back and try to understand, well, you know, those are the people to stay in your life. The people that throw a fit because they don't like the way it's happening or they don't have control over something, those are the ones that you're like, next, thank you. You know,
Yeah, and sometimes it's a little hard when it is sometimes family members, but you know, you have
right?
to still find a way to say, okay, well, you know, as always, I'm sorry you feel that way, or that's how you feel about it. But like I said, no. I like how also Sean had said that we are as empaths. I had forgot the idea, and then you brought it back in again. That we should be moving from empathy to sympathy.
Hmm.
And I don't know why when I see when he said that, I seen like a hybrid. I was like, crazy. Sympathy is the same, but I spelled it SEMPH, whatever, whatever. Don't ask, I'm not spelling PATHY. I am a teacher. I know how to spell. But anyway, I put this S.
I don't.
I had to put both of them together. And it was interesting, like fool, but it's SYM, you know that, right? But I was like, but I felt it much better where I'm combining like what April is. I'm empathic, but I'm sympathy too, which I pull back and I come in and I assess and see what's happening, but I don't stay in there. And it used to be a time like I would just stay in there. I'm holding your hand, I'm feeling you with it, I'm taking in the energy with you, I'm transmuting it, I'm grounding it. You know, it don't take all that process. It's like, okay, I see it. I say what I assess what it is, and then I might jump in, or I might stay there for a while. And when I feel like you have it, you're on your own. So that's interesting. Like, and that helps me to understand even with the boundaries, too as well. That you know, it's not needed to be so in it, uh, and that's been very helpful because again I'm getting to the point like I just don't want to be feeling that anxiety. And I think that's became another part of me being more protective And like, okay, yeah, you do a little empath, now take it off of there and then see what's going on with them from a distance, and then that's enough. Because I guess, like you said, it's we are to be able to use our gifts, like April said, in that way. But I don't think it's so self-draining, so self-sacrificing, and so martyrism to the point that we have been trying to do that. And that's been the issue. Then that goes back to me saying about that superhero and understanding our powers too. Got to temper it. It's got to be a balance, and that's been coming out of the cards a lot. Angel of balance. I say, why I keep on coming out? So we just got to learn how to balance those energies, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. When we talk about control too, it just hit me. I always say everything's got a light and a shadow. Control is good. You need that because, again, like I said, you don't want everybody to steamroll over you. You got to be able to, again, your own power to control even with others. You might be overwhelming. You might feel, hey, I'm all right, but you might be overwhelming to others. You have to learn how to kind of control that too, as well, in some ways. And then also, when you're talking about control, not letting other people control you too, as well. So they're showing me like arrows going in all different kind of directions, how it's going out, how you receiving it, and how you're letting it in too. Like the source is controlling you too. So they're showing me a three-way split. It's going one, two, and up. So you have to also you're getting control in a lot of ways. So that's why I say it could be a positive and a negative too as well. You're being controlled by the spirit source telling you need to do X, Y, and Z, although you have free will. But then you got control about what you want to do and what others want you to do too as well.
And that's one of the things that was coming up when we started talking about control was the universe, yeah, and surrendering, right? Because the serenity prayer, right? Grant me the serenity to
To
control
change
this,
the things that I can't, or to change the things I can,
And some
release
of
the
and
things
know the
I can't,
difference.
and know the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
and the wisdom to know the difference,
Yeah.
and that's basically what we're doing as souls evolving, right? And remembering where it is that we come from. We are source, right? So we have been in control this entire time. However, part of that control is a surrender, right? Part of that is a trust fall, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that we're making the right decisions. As long as we're anchored in our discernment, anchored in ourselves, we then allow the divine to take control. But when we feel that there's some kind of lack or there's something missing, then we tend to like seize up, and you can feel it within the body itself as it. No, thank you. I'm filming right now. I guess he wants to be part of the program now that he's all hopped up on popsicles. But surrendering, there's only so much that is supposed to be controlled, and there is a large portion of it that is supposed to be witnessed,
Mm-hmm.
and actually we can't change anything but really ourselves and our responses to that. So in light of being able to change our responses, recalibrating and using the techniques that you've been doing for years, most likely things that you've fallen off of, when you feel like you're out of control or you feel like you need to control things excessively, that's typically, oh, did I meditate? Did I? Oh, I stopped months ago. Okay, well, all that accumulative effort that you put in now has to be done again. And I was told by someone, which I don't fully believe, but when you stop all that practice, you have to now do double to get it back to where it was. And I don't think that that's accurate. I think there's a sort of muscle memory, a
Mm-hmm.
brain memory. There's an attachment, but we just have to get out of the ego of it, right? Because the reason we stopped is because we know we stopped the practicing because we thought, okay, I've got it, so I've got it now. I don't need to practice. But athletes, professional athletes, they are still practicing. They still practice every day. They see, they practice, they train in their seasons. Oh my Lanta, I'm being hijacked. I don't think I can control that. I could have controlled the popsicles, but I can't control the hijacking of
Join the
this.
club.
You need more life, she says. Well, breathe it into existence, honey. For every breath you have is just that more attachment to life. And it's not necessarily life, it's experiencing it, right? Because we shut down in thought a lot and we forget, we put everything else on autopilot and forget that we are actually living and experiencing our realities and our nows.
Mhm.
And so let's just take a deep breath in. Let's just enjoy.
And that's where the mindfulness comes in. Yeah, we've got to be in the present.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really loving it. I'm really loving it because Spirit has been guiding me into the present. Now I'm lucky enough to have 9 9s, right? In my name, you know me and my number nines. But there's no right or wrong about it. So if somebody's telling you it's got to be this way, I'm always one of those ones who loves to do the contrary, right? Um,
I think all three of us do.
Yeah.
but it's all about what works for you. So if breathing is too complicated for you to, that sounded condescending a little bit, but if
Breathing
breathing
is
is
too
too
complicated.
complicated,
You know my ex's family. No.
just to kind of get you in the mood, what do you need, right? What do you need to do to shift you out of the need or the feeling of control, the tightness in the body, any pains that are stopping you? I know, right? It's kind of
Right where
deep
she
right,
froze
Why
was
would
but
the best.
I? Universe, like, oh yeah, and she. I'm
She got
sorry to
jokes today.
report, divine sunshine is no more. She has went to the.
um yes, yes.
Oh,
Yes, it's
oh,
true. When we do attempt, you know, because we are pack, we are community based. We That's why it takes so long for us in terms of preparing our young for the world, right? And I'm not just talking 18, I'm talking like 12, 13. The first 7 years, they're going to remember everything, right? That's going to be their foundation for life, including emotional intelligence, right? So, um, but it doesn't mean they can't expand or grow beyond that. But that's the foundation. So, 9 month gestation period, birthing, and then 7 years to hopefully competent, mostly human being, and then they hit hormones, and then it kind of starts all over again, right? Um, so you know we want others around us, especially our immediate families that we love, to understand us and accept what we're experiencing and see what we're seeing. But it's different, physical blood family is different than soul family and soul community. And everyone has an alignment process. And so when we can attempt, but you don't want to. I mean, you kind of need to find a choir, honestly, to preach to, because then your
mm-hmm,
message is going to get across. You can't just take a random person off the street and preach to them about what you're experiencing. And in your family, when they grew up in a certain paradigm and you're having all these eye-opening experiences that are expanded beyond what it is that their current paradigm holds, you are offending them to the sense where they now need to control, right? So the one thing they can control is, I'm going to shut you out or tune you out or tune this down or even poo poo on all of your, particular spiritual topics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that they don't have a highest self. It's not that they don't have these energetics. It's that their alignment doesn't. Their highest self is not in alignment at this time. We all
mm-hmm,
have a 5D self, whether we're conscious of it or not. However, some of us are really not tuned into it at all. And that could be part of their contract for this life experience.
mm.
So she was saying that she was talking to her families and she got over their attachment to it. But when you allow yourself to be free, because that's the freedom, this has been the whole freedom talk. When you allow yourself to be free, you really are surrendering.
True.
And you're being vulnerable. And that's what we have to. You have to be vulnerable to be able to learn. You have to be vulnerable to be able to love.
Mm-hmm.
and in whatever capacity it is. I mean, you have to, um and you have to be in the now. And when we release that control and we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, that's when we are in the now. Because our main focus is what is right in front of us. It's not the woulda, coulda, shoulda, if onlys, behind us, or all of the if only, maybe, I hope, oh gee, it'd be nice in front of us.
But it's
It's
okay
that.
to experience it, right?
Yes, it's
Because you
okay to
need it for the you need it for contrast. Because
you do.
when you start to get the play of contrast, you stop being addicted to the shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
hmm The shoulda,
Mm.
coulda, wouldas need to be released. That's the main thing. We have the here and now, so we see where we're going and where we are and the steps we need to take to move to where we want to be. But you have to have that why, or you just stay there. And that's the main thing in life. Our why always has to be bigger than anything that we are experiencing as a discomfort, be it, living situations, be it jobs, health, anything. Our why has to be bigger than whatever is causing us discomfort, because until then we're going to stay in the discomfort, because it, as strange as it sounds, it's comforting because we know it. But when we know why we want out of it, why we want to change it, why we want a different outcome, and we know we can't do the same thing, because we know that's the definition of insanity, is to do the same thing and expect a different outcome, um, then we are using both our manifestation powers and our powers of being mindfulness, and the power of, now, and who we are, and our intuition, and that 5D understanding to its highest potential. And when you do that, that's when the telepathy kicks in. That's when so many more of your gifts come on, that you just let it be, go with the flow, as crazy as that sounds for a lot of us. Um, you just have to let it be. Just, enjoy the ride. I think at one point we had we talked about, instead of calling it a journey, it was
Adventure.
a it was an adventure. And I think right now we need to go back to that adventure, because if
Mm-hmm.
you're finding the magic every day, if you're doing that journaling like we've talked about in the other weeks, um, where you're writing down everything magical that happened, then you are on an adventure. It's almost like a mystery who done it. Who did the magic today? Where did the magic come from? Why did the magic come? You can start to see, as you get more familiar with this magic in your life, um you even start to see why. And why is this coming in? This is coming in because I've manifested this. This is coming in because it was a promise from the universe. um Everything is slowly, as you allow it to fall into place, it will fall into place. But we
So I
have to
found
step away from those uncomfortable situations and think that's the end.
so I actually was learning this week at a light body class, right? The reason that it's so powerful and easy to manifest when you are not thinking about it, it's typically when you have a higher emotion, right? Not a higher emotion. Actually, it's not a higher emotion, it's a lower emotion. So when you go into anger, when you go into sorrow, you go into these things aren't bad things. They could actually be used for fuel when you detach from it. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're stuck in a little bit of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, it's good to utilize that, detach from the situation, and alchemize that into attracting what it is that you desire. So it's like a quick flip, or it's a detachment, right? So when you detach from it and you start to feel that sorrow feeling, the energy is a lot more magnetic.
Mm.
than we are consciously aware of, right? So people will tend to go into those feelings and like because CPN Texas was talking about um, how she was processing the transition of her mother and father and went into some shoulda coulda wouldas, and I started processing the transition of one of my best friends. Right, she's lost too young, but I was so busy in fight or flight, like having to survive in the last little bit, that I didn't let myself feel it. But when I went into it, you go into the emotions, right? And they start to sit and you start to pull them through your body, your physical body, because it goes to the emotion body. And the light body helps you alchemize it. And you know that you've processed it because you'll feel a sudden calm.
Mhm.
You know, when you're just
Mm.
sobbing and sobbing, and then you go into this peace state, that's when you're the most magnetic and you start to call back in. And it comes
Mm.
so fast. So you can utilize these intense emotions, these waves, like um, like a manifestation device that you have, and not necessarily feel like I need to process or overanalyze all of the situation so I don't feel the emotion again. The emotion was given to you as a tool. The memory was using you as a, this is an opportunity for you to for you to manifest or to create something new or to grow, right? But the hardest part is that attachment to the thought, right? Because the thought isn't anything tangible, but it is creating a tangible emotion that your body is feeling and alchemizing. And that energy that's being alchemized can be used to then, within that peaceful state, bring in the antithesis of that, or bring in that to fill that in, right? Because throughout this process of being in the human form, we're going to consistently lose people that we love. We're going to consistently have experiences begin and experiences end, right? So if we can take those moments, one, we have to acknowledge it, right? Because we're experiencing it. We don't want to deny something that turns into something else entirely, which is disease in the body. We don't want to carry that, but we do want to allow what comes through to come through. Just like the deer who goes through a fear escape or was just chased by a predator, they're going to shake. Their whole body's going to shake and create space for peace again, right? They're back in nature. They're and drink and all this stuff. They just shake. Just like when you see a child having a whole like fit, like they're shaking that emotion through their body and processing it, and then they go on to the next space. Yes, that is unfortunate though, when we're not able to do what we want to have done, or we kind of left something unfulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
But we know. I mean, I know my best friend. I know she knew I loved her, because that was always the thing. That was my parting. Actually, when I was young, I don't know. I've 9'9", so I'm pretty much led by spirit all the time. So I'm learning how to be here on Earth. To be honest with you, I just don't. I mean, I'm still learning. Okay, I'm getting it. Anyway,
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
was always, if I don't see you again, just know that I love you. I don't know when I'm going to transition from this world, but know that I love you. And that's what I've always said that since I was like 8. Like who's the 8-year-old that's like sitting there? Look, I might not make it through this life, but I want you to know I love you. No 8-year-olds ever doing that. But me saying, giving permission, right? Because I didn't know I was going to lose her first. I didn't know I was going to lose her so young, right? I thought we were still going to have time to cruise and walk on a beach in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Um, but there's always going to be that some of that bittersweetness with it.
Mm-hmm.
And CPN, I'll tell you, those dreams, hold on to them. So much comes through for them as you're ready to receive it. Um, this month, the 23rd of this month, I will have lost my mom 20 years ago. And it's, it's difficult and it doesn't get
How's it go?
easier. It doesn't get easier, but those
Mm-mm.
dreams, and once you come to the understanding that, she's not in her meat suit, but she's still there, and it's the things, and just the knowing that you get from it, um is amazing. And so don't ever second guess it. Go with it and love it,
Mm-hmm.
and be with it, be with those dreams. There'll be certain times of the year that were special for you and your mom, and keep a dream journal then, because you're going to get a lot of wonderful insight. I One of the first times I went into meditate, or not meditation, but into a hypnotic state, I I got to talk to my mom, and the thing that I had blocked out, because it was so, for me at the time, I was 28 years old or 29 years old. It was so horrific. Was the fact that um, I was the one that had to decide to pull the plug or not for my mom. My dad said, "No, I'm not doing it. Talk to her." And so her had to decide. And you want to talk about a wave of emotions. You're the little kid in you, looking at
Mm-hmm.
this doctor going, can't you do something? Can't you save her? Can't you do anything? And then the other half, the adult, is, know, you don't want her to suffer. And I had blocked out, because that was so traumatic, to have to tell those doctors, unplug my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, I fought with that I said, ultimately, I want my mom to die. And I had to deal with the fact that no, I didn't. I wanted my mom to live on and not to suffer. But what I had blocked out in that time was the last time I got to see her. And she was so weak and she could barely talk. But she told me she loved me and that she was proud of me and always would be. And it took 18 years, well, actually, about 18, 19 years, no, less than that, 17 years of beating myself up,
Mm-hmm.
to finally be able to hear her say that in that hypnotic state. And, so hold on to those dreams. There are answers to questions that you haven't asked yet in them. And just know that, yeah, it's, unfortunately, it never gets any easier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are so many times in these last 4 years, I have wished, hoped, prayed, and finally have now realized all I have to do is call her in. Once I get my energy high enough and I get out of the state of lack, and I can go in there joyful, remembering the magic of the day, and I can bring her in and I can talk to her and I can get her response
Mm-hmm.
and guidance. So hold fast to that. It's it's amazing, and it's such a blessing, because at that point, when you do get those things from them, there's no ego attached. There's no agenda. It's that pure knowing. It's like you hear everybody say, "Oh, well, haven't got another angel today." It's almost like I got another guide.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this intuitive, and Divine Sunshine knows with the loss of her dad, it's something that you can't explain. And you really don't want to explain, because you sound borderline crazy.
Crazy. No labels again.
But for people that haven't been through it, but you have to go through that, and going back to that need for forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself, you have to forgive them. Even if it was, and I don't think it's easy, whether it's quick and sudden or if it's a long drawn out illness, but there's still some forgiveness. And I think even depending on what age you are, there you have to forgive the universe too, because there's some pretty ugly things said. Why did you do this to me? What did I do wrong? I hate you for taking this away from me. And so you have to forgive yourself for that. You have to understand where you were and where that came from. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to find that comes from ego, that comes from that abandonment, that comes from
Mm-hmm.
things. And we go through them and we learn from it. And
Yeah.
no labels. No, we're not. Yes, is there a grieving process? Yes, and that's a process. That's like, your
That's
digestive
never
process. Yes. And but you don't ever use it like it's a like a 12-step program. Well, now I'm in this. No, it'll jump around.
ending.
Yes, in
Yeah.
that inner child class, it helped so much with
Yeah.
anything like this.
Yeah, I thank God, like you said, for I I don't remember me going through the process with Dad being angry with the universe taking him. I remember me really through, I guess, the process of saying thank you that I had gotten the chance to meet him. I'm same thing like you. That was a long time beating myself up about that, making the decision about Dad too, about giving the thing I knew within myself that I didn't feel comfortable getting, but the doctor had told me and it convinced me that it would put him more at ease, and that I knew was what took him out. But it was a lot, my dad had to tell me jokingly, who else would I would want to have made the decision to do that? Because I know when you would be the one to do it without any malice. You didn't have no hidden agenda. Who else would I want to make the decision to release me, to let me go, but and it was like, okay, it took some time, but the more and more I heard it, and I thank God for this journey, that even if I can't hear him, he'll pop in to Benita, or he'll pop into CPN, talk to her, get her on the line, contact her and talk to her. So I thank God that he has learned how to find other ways and other little, I call it cell phone towers, spiritual towers out of people to be able to contact. But you do have to, that process knows my mom had to do the same thing. She was the one who had, and my grandmother had a headache. She was complaining of headache. She gave her aspirin, and it looked like she was at that time was having, it was wrong time for her to give her aspirin or something, and it caused whatever for it to be worsened. For she's always not hard on herself about that, giving people medication because he's scared that he might do the same thing. So I can understand that's something that you really have to work on and forgive yourself. Every now and then they'll pop up, and every now and then I hear his voice saying Bertina, or or pumpkin, or baby. That's it, not to think of that. So I think we all have that kind of like cross that we have to deal with and ascend from, and say we don't need that anymore, because that's not really part of our thing. They made the decision. I think somebody put it to me plainly, like, who made you God? Who you think that you're so powerful that you could have stopped him from making that decision? You think you could have made the change? I mean, you probably wouldn't have went through the decision of him doing it, period, if that was possible. He decided to go through that way. That was his lesson. You were a part of it. So, that was kind of like, I'm like, damn. But it was a way of shocking, like, that's true. I'm not, if he decided to go that way, that's the way he decided. So again, that's it. But I'm in total agreement. That's one of those things that I know myself, I had to kind of work with in getting over. And it's a daily process with your grieving. One day it'll be okay. You see a commercial and something remind you, and like, I want my daddy, or something like that. And you kind of go through it, or something in the whiff of it, or smell, or something would be left, a feather or a penny, or something else, or something that you like, now I know that's nothing, but that was God, but that was also you working that out between y'all two, did that for that to happen. I know that's got your stamp on it, because that's look like that would be something that you would do, so especially like with the job. So I know. And funny thing, the job that the place that I'm working with was the actual place that my dad worked as an engineer. So I was like, okay, that's nothing but you that made me to be able to go into school. So, they have their ways. It doesn't end. I wish I could tell. It was one of my friends and our parent that passed away. And she's like, he scared me. He's coming in my dreams. And, I was trying to explain to her it doesn't end. I mean, they're still here. It doesn't end. They talk through the lights, they do whatever. And just to understand, it's just the meat suit, as Kathy D says, that's gone. But the essence of them are still here. I mean, they can be as tangible as you believe them to be, just like you thinking about Santa Claus. They could do a lot of movement and things that you would be unbelievable to know that they can be able to do behind the scenes. Mine's always tell me I do as much as possible as they tell me I can. And when they say no, she's got to learn it, or mom has to learn it, I back off. But if I could go all the way to the wire, I move things around and I shift things behind the scenes. So I'm gonna stop because they told me stop talking.
The beautiful part of this is, yes, we're talking about physical people at this point, right? But we are also, what I saw is that this parallels to multiple experiences, right? So you can, one, someone said earlier that this brought up other feelings for them. There are a couple different people in the chat who said that this brought up other feelings for them about either associated loved ones, who also transitioned, or other topics, right, that needed to be released, right? So when you tap into a frequency of an emotion, especially sorrow is one of the greatest attractors of energy, right? And what's beautiful is when you're able to receive the people, when you're able to kind of release the lack, because I love how Kathy D said she released the lack in order to communicate, right? When you release the lack, you actually open into the experience of more. And
Mhm.
depending on which person transitioned, if you are communicating with that spirit or energy, you will allow yourself to receive what you really desire. Now, for those people who don't have family like that, like they were adopted or they were, the loss, just even experiencing the loss of the archetype of the mother or the father or the grandmother, just looking for that familial space, you can still take that sorrow. And then once you find that peace, it will call in for you the antithesis for that. But you have to allow yourself to receive it, or you'll push it away and create another karmic experience that helps you go back into the process, right? Because it's a different transitions for everyone, and it's intense, Well, it looks like Kathy D's in love, so we're all happy for you.
No.
I say it's love. I say it's love. If she's laughing and smiling, why not let it be love? It could be irony. It could be all kinds of things. It could smell like farts in there. Who knows what her dog is doing?
Oh my Lord,
But
Jesus Lord.
what's smiling, and that's what we like. We like smiling, happy
The
women.
fart. Oh my God.
I love that she created a heart on the tortilla.
Yes.
and
The humor.
and they do reach out to us because they know how we're experiencing. They can actually embody our experience, like by connecting with us they can embody through that experience. And certain things, that obviously they don't want you to suffer. They do want you to go towards experiencing peace in your physical body and love in
Yeah.
your physical body, but they're also going to help lead you to the spaces that you need to be in to further grow how you want to grow. I mean, they can
Mhm.
see your span now. They can see your entire mission here on this planet,
Right.
right? And so they can help usher you or guide you in a way that if you didn't bend down and pick up that feather or that flower that they knew was going to attract your eye, you never would have slowed down enough to see that sign that told you to go apply for that one job in that area, or whatever. It's a
Mhm.
really beautiful orchestra of how do we get where the we are and how are we doing it.
Mhm. Matt, me think of a movie Inside Out. What? So they find that sadness take controls and let Riley release and express herself. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to. It's been a while. I don't know why I'm thinking about Soul. Oh,
That's now our homework is to watch a movie, see
yeah,
how it
watch
goes.
that. Yeah, I like that movie too. Yeah, I gotta watch it again because I was watching kids too at the same time. But I do remember, yeah, disallowing that they express, and then it also remind me of the movie Soul, where he was like, "I'm finding happiness just in the little smallest thing," and he was talking about that ain't living. You supposed to have a job. You supposed to be doing this, that, and then when it came around to it, he's like, "Wait a second, that is living." Just for looking at the penny and looking at the subway and looking at the feather and the leaves falling. That's living. So yeah, that's I don't know why I went to that way, but I guess that's always the message that people tell me dad is always saying about that. You're not slowing down the smell of the roses. You're doing too much. So
Well, and that's part of it too, because as we go through this and as we lose people in our lives, we still have, like we've all talked about, and April's talked about, and you've talked about, we have our soul family, and we have those people that even if you're trying to be serious, they want to make you laugh, and but they're also the ones that you have a choice of either laughing at your life or crying through your life with, and with them you always choose laughing, and that's what makes them your best friend.
right, that's true. People, let me tell you about my best friend.
For the sake of Freaky Friday, I'm gonna go with orgasming is the best medicine.
Okay, there she go.
And we're done.
I was gonna type it in the text, but I was
That's
like,
that's it. That's
it
it.
seems inappropriate. People are spilling their guts. Oh, there goes Freaky Friday.
Freaking
No,
Friday.
we got real serious there.
Before
I
the
guess
censorship comes.
this is a different type of freaky. I'm gonna tell you that.
This is paranormal freaky. Other side, other dimension.
CPN, my aura is usually yellow, so I've been told multiple times that mine's yellow.
Yes. Okay. Spiritual awakening. All right now. Itchy. She makes my head scratch. All right there. As we close out. Oh my God. April P. came. I knew that was gonna happen. I said, "Why?" April said, "Let's make this quick. We in and we out." I said, "Watch this sucker be super long."
I had my commercial breaks. Y'all didn't take them, but I had them.
Well, see, I came in late, so I was
Right. Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
continued
Yeah.
part. That was the surprise guest.
Yes. She was.
2 hours
2 hour
freaking.
Freaky Friday. That was a slow orgasm right there. Put on phone. Anyway, all right, here we go.
Check, please.
We're done. Just grab your shit off the playground, clean up your stuff. We'll see you next week. I'm gone.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
All right, there, people. Stay help lifted, stay motivated, stay said namaste. Nama go. Mwah. Love you. Until next
Yes.
time.
Email her. Email Divine Sunshine. Aloha.
Aloha. See ya. No,